Hello everybody, this is STO Weather Meteorologist Bobby Stowell here with this week's edition of Forecast Friday. As is usual, we will start with observations from across the area. Right here we have surface observations which show temperature and dew points. Trying to pinpoint when the storms went through last night, but the observations are not that... Okay, we don't have observations that far back at this time. But you can see the dew points have been relatively low when compared with the temperatures. 4:30 a.m. today, 46 at Lambert with a dew point of 36. And you can see today we got up to 70 at 4:30. Current time check shows 6:47, so we do not have observations that are accurate, but this is the most recent we have. 70 at Spirit and Mid-America. Dew points in the low to mid 30s. Definitely not a chance of rain at this point. And the wind data, 16 knots, which is roughly, one moment while I can do the conversion. .4, so 18 miles per hour, gusting to 30. So definitely we had some high winds overnight as the front passed. You can see the winds have since died down, and they're back up again. That would make sense. When I was at work today, I noticed that the wind was gusting pretty hard. See, sustained at 15, that's going to put it to about 17 miles per hour, gusting to just around 25 across the area. So it's definitely been windy, but the wind has since, well, I'm looking out the window right now, it has not died down. It's still going at a pretty good clip. So that's definitely an interesting night for wind. And you can see the front passing right there, really. Let's just see that. See, there's another front just north, actually, right there. So that could be causing the wind as it prepares to pass. Where's that front draped, actually? Right through central Illinois. Yeah, you can actually see the front right there. If you look at all the wind arrows blowing, you can see the front right there, which is pretty cool. You can see right there are the storms from last night. And out they go. Since then we've had clearing skies. And it appears there are some high clouds just to our south. Look out the window confirms this. So definitely high clouds are going to prevail over the weekend. I can tell you that much. This is actually day 3 on the thunderstorm risk. Normally I look at day 1. Day 3, which puts us to Monday. Monday, it's not shown on here, but we are in a marginal risk, which means severe weather could happen. It's very unlikely, though. So possibility of a storm or two Monday, but they're not holding their breath over it. And a better look now, we have local radar. You can see the storms push through. Out they go. And now you're seeing ground clutter. Yep, there's all the ground clutter. It's all ground clutter. So for this weekend, I'm going to say temps will be just right about where they're at right now. 70s, low to mid 70s during the day. Probably, I'd say probably low 40s overnight. Low 40s overnight, and that's because of the high, whoops, wrong tab. That actually we'll show you the marginal risk, but I'm not using it today. Excuse me. Again, like I said, temps will be low to mid 70s during the day. Probably upper 30s to low 40s overnight. So you definitely want to have a jacket handy if you are doing any events this weekend or going out all this weekend. Cloud-wise, I believe that high clouds will prevail. So you could see some high clouds And that's going to actually make it cooler during the day and warmer at night. The fact that the clouds are going to be so sparse, though, I'm not factoring that into the forecast. And winds will probably still be on the increase as that front passes, which it should pass. Probably tonight it'll pass, and then we'll be clear for the rest of the weekend. So you expect a windy night tonight, but after that, definitely going to be calm. With that, this is STO weather meteorologist Bobby Stillwell, signing off from this edition of Forecast Friday. Have a good weekend, everybody. Take care.